You know, a question I get often is, your kickflips are good. And I really don't have an answer for that until today. Today I want to give you guys a few tips and tricks for kickflips to really get them to the next level. I'm not going to promise that your kickflips are going to be looking like Zach Doling or Felipe Gustavo, but in time your kickflips will no doubt look better if you can take some of these tips that I give you, put them into action, work on it, watch through some of your footage, maybe critique yourself a little bit, and once you've figured out what's happening, you'll know exactly how to fix it so you can start boosting your kickflips proper. One of the most common things I see when people are beginning to learn kickflips or any trick really that involves any pop, a lot of beginner skaters will really emphasize having their foot on the very tip of the tail, having it all the way up here. Well, I get that. In your mind, you're thinking, oh, I'm gonna generate so much pop from up here. But it's honestly completely unnecessary. Here's why. So, if you look at the tail of your skateboard, you see that it slopes up. This is the point, the axis, to where we're going to be able to initiate any pop and get any leverage for any sort of trick. If you look at the distance from the tail to the ground, I have roughly one hand, roughly that much, to get this part of the board to touch the ground and initiate any pop. Now that's a lot of foot movement. To move my foot from here to the ground, that's a lot of movement. How could we make that easier? Here's an idea. Instead of having your foot here up at the tippy top of the mountain, slide it down a little bit. Really? Yes, really. Slide your foot down. You don't need it to be all the way up here. I like to place my foot right about here, about dead center of the tail. This is cutting the distance down that my foot has to travel before the tail touches the ground. When it's here, I have to travel so much farther and it takes a lot more effort. When I put my foot here, I'm starting at a lower point on the tail, as you can see here versus here. So because of that, my foot's starting at a closer position to the ground. So initiating that pop is much, much easier. Okay, so you figured out you don't have to have your foot all the way back here to pop. In fact, I wouldn't recommend that at all. We've determined that you can pop it from right here. Just fine. There's no hindrance to having your foot here as opposed to here. So we figured out our back foot. We're gonna push straight down just like we did for an ollie. But what do we do about our front foot? I'll tell you. So for an ollie, you probably have your foot something like this. Roughly flat, not pointed either direction, roughly flat, maybe turned a little bit depending on the tendency your body has to turn. So for a kickflip, it's gonna be not that dissimilar. We're gonna pull our foot back a little bit so there's less of the foot on there. We're gonna angle it slightly, and this is all because we know this foot's going to drag up and flick right about here. Once again, we're gonna point our foot, and in our mind we're thinking drag and flick. Drag and flick. One of the most common things you'll see when someone's beginning to learn their kickflips is that they're gonna kick down. Down. You see what happens when I initiate the flick by hitting down? It takes any upward momentum the board has, instantly nullifies it. That's not good. We want our foot to be working with the pop that we're generating with our back foot. You're popping, you're leveling, and as it's leveling out, this foot is coming up and out. It's not kicking straight out. It's up and out to allow the board to lift. We don't want to flick down. I'll try to show you what happens when you flick down. Nothing. Whole lot of nothing. The board's bouncing off the ground. We want to allow the board to rise up before we flick, and we want to flick with the upward motion. Flicking up with it. Now, one thing throughout my kickflip progression over the years that I've been really happy to have figured out is the back foot catch. If you've seen anyone like Zach Doling or any other professional skaters that have really good kickflips, there's always that super nice back foot catch, and then they put their front foot on and land it super sick. That took me quite a while to figure out, but I sort of stumbled upon it by accident. By kicking a little higher off the nose and adding a bit of a downward flick, I'm able to level the board out and then let it go beyond level, causing it to then meet my back foot before I hit the ground. And figuring that out has been huge. Not only huge for my kickflips, huge for my confidence. It feels so good. On days when nothing else is working out, if kickflips are working out, it is honestly such a lifesaver, a session saver. Gets me out of my head, lets me focus on what I'm doing and why I'm doing what I'm doing, which is for the love. Let's see if I can sort of drill into that and see if I can give you guys a few examples of how you can start to initiate that bone so you can get a nice back foot catch on your kickflip. So the main difference between a regular kickflip and getting that bone with the back foot catch is going to be where you flick on the nose. Typical kickflip, you're flicking off right about here. To bone my kickflip, I'm flicking a little higher and adding a little bit of a downwards kick. That's going to get it up, initiate the flick, and give it a little bit of forward action, almost like you were starting to do a forward flip. That's gonna give it that little bit of bone so you can catch it and put it down all stylish. One problem that can occur when you're trying to bone it by kicking too high off the nose, the board, because it's rounded, when you kick off there, it wants to rotate off that axis. So if you're trying to bone your kickflips and you're getting a little bit of backside turn, that's completely fine. All that means is you need to flick not quite as high and try to think more of it as a downward flick to give it that bone. One thing I found that can help initiate that bone is having your foot a little bit higher than you would typically have it. By having it up there, you can move your foot the same amount, same distance from here to your flick point. By having it higher, you use that muscle memory you've developed. You do the kick just like you normally would, but because you're starting from a higher position, when you bring that foot here and flick off the side, you're gonna be higher on the nose and initiate that flick at a higher position to allow it to bone. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you've made it this far, I hope that something in this video could be of service to you in your journey to master kickflips. There's a lot of things I talked about in this video that I don't think have been mentioned, or at least aren't mentioned enough in various other trick tip videos I've seen for the kickflip. I myself got the most benefit from watching a Mike Moe video way back in the day on how he did kickflips. And something about the way he did it, having his pop foot in the pocket, Sean Malto as well, he doesn't put his foot very high up on the tail. It's right about in the middle, maybe closer to the bolts than it is the tip of the tail. And when I saw that and started trying that myself, it really was paramount in me developing my kickflips to the point they are today, which I'd like to say I'm pretty happy with the way my kickflips are. Not that I'm carrying them down anything big or up anything cool or over any awesome gaps or anything, but the fact that I have them comfortably on flat ground enough to throw them in lines, do them in my warm-up, land them, and just feel satisfied that I'm doing them the way I want. The fact that I've accomplished that much with them really has given me a lot of pride in them. Makes me proud to say that I'm a skateboarder and I can do kickflips. And I hope that this video can help you guys so you can one day do the same. Here's your verse for the day. Hebrews 6:10. God is not unjust. He will not forget your work and the love you have shown him as you have helped his people and continue to help them. I hope that this video can encourage and inspire you to not only get out there and work on your kickflips, but to work on yourself physically, mentally, spiritually. If you're going through a tough time right now, please reach out to myself or someone near to you. Please seek help. You are loved and you matter. Once again, thanks for watching. Peace out. God bless.